What's good, y'all? It's your boy Trilogy. Now, I have a very straightforward video to make. That's why I don't even really care that I'm not wearing a shirt. That I'm about to sit down, ball up my spliff while I'm doing it. I don't care at all. Because this video is really more about what I'm about to say than anything else. Alright? The same folk or the same demographic that's here been running behind supporting Kendrick and wishing for the downfall of Drake. They're the same people who hated on my sound. And that's kind of, I guess, that's why I'm low-key switching back to becoming a Drake fan. You know, a lot of you guys know I was a Drake hater. But realizing the exact demographic of people who's hating on Drake right now want him to fail on behalf of Kendrick and are running behind Kendrick. They also didn't like my sound. What they didn't like about my sound? Well, they didn't like that it represented or was close to sonics that represented a demographic that weren't considered conscious, right, or progressive towards the fight of hip hop. Let's call it that. And that in itself is a complex, because to me, the fight of hip hop is to enfranchise our people, making us have more of a say. In this world, in this economy, your say is a dollar, it's through money. You have a say by having money. So we have a say by accruing more income, by accruing more finances, economic opportunities. And nobody can question that Drake has opened the door on that conversation in terms of black people in our art form, creating economic opportunities for themselves as well as the wider community attached to them. In terms of the GDP or whatever you want to call it, that has tourism or whatever that has increased in terms of hip hop and the black community in Toronto, hands down, was not anything near this. I even have a job working for the city I live in, because I do hip hop. That's where we are in today, where the city I live in has hired me to teach children hip hop. That was not happening because of Cardinal Official. So yeah, I'm no longer a Drake hater. I can't be a Drake hater when I'm literally, you know, the white folk around me are like, oh wait, maybe music is an exploit because of what Drake has achieved. So he's definitely enfranchising the perspective of black people, at least locally here in Canada. But when we speak about locally here in terms of the demographic that is running behind Kendrick or would have ran behind the purest perspective of being a hip hop fan, they didn't like my sound. They didn't like 808s. That's specifically what was in it. Oh, bro, I don't like that 808 Southern, you know. At the time, it wasn't really called Southern music. Well, I guess it was called Southern music. We didn't call it 808 yet. We didn't call it trap music. If anything, it might have been called trap house for a bit. But it wasn't even the trap house era. We were still leaving the crunk era. This was still Lil Jon, and little now I can't remember his name right now, but Scrappy, Lil Scrappy, and all those guys, right? It was that era. On the crunk juice and the big gold cups, and they had the big cups and the gold chains and all that stuff. It was that era. You know what I'm saying? So the bass wasn't really distorted. It was saturated, very, very heavy saturated bass, but it wasn't so much distorted. But still, I would take that same saturated bass and try and do my thing on it. And the mans and the ends weren't feeling it. They were like, yo, we don't want no Southern Little John. Because in their brain, Canadians' way of thinking, especially back then, is like everything is so heavily branded and propagated as one. So even the iota of anything related to that brand would give inference that you're trying to be that. So just using Southern 808 beats means you're not going to make anything conscious. You're going to make some, you know, deaf, blind, consciously blind record that has nothing to do with enhancing yourself as a human being or the exploits or the black fight or whatever the case may be, which had nothing to do with anything. Clearly, that is some white guy's perspective of Southern music. But for some reason, even the black people in Canada held that in terms of a real perspective of Southern music. Not all, and clearly not. I'm not trying to make this a monolithic black-white statement. I'm just saying the demographic that would say, we want this purest form, the boom bap, da-da-da-da-da. Oh, you want a beat with 808s in it and chord progressions or whatever? It's the same chord progressions in the sample that he's slicing and flipping and putting a boom bap. It's the same sine wave sound that's being changed with a release, with a different type of release and different type of saturation. It's the same like literal information digitally that we're just processing in different ways. But for some reason, the purist is gonna sit there when I play my 808 beats and be like, nah, I don't want that. All right. No, that's gonna make me look like I'm associating to lower vibrational, low wave thinking. That's the way guys would talk to me when I would play those kinds of beats back in 2008, 2009. That's like, this is not a joke. For real. Real, like, serious guys in Toronto will be like, right? So now 10, 15 years later, that's the sound. If you ain't putting 808s in a beat, you're not really trying to make a beat that anybody want to do anything to, right? Like, not to say there's still not the lo-fi. We got the lo-fi, you know what I mean? This new turn of boom bap. But come on, even the drill scene, the Jersey, whatever Jersey style or whatever you want to call it, all those other styles are still using 808s in a similar fashion, similar, and even more so now, super distorted. We're past just trying to saturate them. We're distorting them. We're distorting the signal. Okay, so when you're doing that to to audio material, at that point you can't now say, oh, it's okay for conscious dudes to spit their raps, they not like us and whatever on these kind of beats. But back in the day, you same demographic would look at a mustard beat and be like, don't play that for me. I know the same community was not be like, yeah, a mustard beat, because it was YG and, you know what I mean, Ty Dolla Sign and club records. And they played their purpose for entertainment. But the conscious community is all like, well, we're not here to be entertained. We're here to be educated and to fight against the beast. But hip hop fighting against the beast metrics is actually just getting richer. That's why this shit don't make no. Anyways, man. I probably said a bunch of nothing, but it's. I'm not gonna say that. I said a bunch of something. It is just there was more I wanted to say, and if I try to spend time to remember those points. Oh, for instance, no, this is important. The evolution, right? The evolution of hip hop went from Jay-Z, right? And we crowned Jay-Z like, yo, he's the king of hip hop, like he's a GOAT, blah, 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 because of the deals he was doing. Not so much his raps, because a lot of people don't like Jay-Z, but they can't argue his business acumen. The deals he was creating. The Samsung deal that just, as soon as they dropped their new release, boom, he went platinum. Didn't even have to do nothing. Like, we respected that, the cleverness of how he presented and positioned his brand to make even more exploits for himself. So if that's what we praise Jay-Z for, how y'all gonna try and put Kendrick over Drake? But I get it. Look, when it transitioned from Jay-Z, we were like, okay, the next guy got to be bigger than Jay-Z. Like, he got to be a better lyricist than Jay-Z. Has to blah, blah, blah. So when Kanye was low-key passed the torch, we didn't really get it. A lot of folks didn't understand. And they're like, nah, man, Kanye can't really be the guy. But he's the guy, right? He was the guy. And he dropped his 3 albums, and folks started rocking with Kanye being the guy. But a lot of folks still see, no, Kanye's more of a producer. He's not really a lyrical genius like Jay-Z. Then he went up against 50 Cent. Boom. Beat 50 Cent. And we realized, okay, it's not going to be the street rapper who can really put bars together that's going to carry the next generation forward. It's going to be this kind of progressive new form, right? But at the same time, Lil Wayne was coming up. And he was taking the energy. And he was doing it almost in a street way. But we know he's not really a street rapper because he grew up, under Baby's arm. He came from a middle-class family, low-key. Well, not middle-class. He came from a poor family. But he was taken in very young. So he was living rich from very young, right? And all that to say, you see Lil Wayne kind of transform his brand to be this one where you're respecting his lyrical ability, but you're not really expecting or looking to him to speak on social topics. Like, Lil Wayne's not known for being a Malcolm X or a Tupac. He's known for saying tougher than Nigerian hair. right? So we're gonna get angry at these type of bending of cultural, what do you call it, cultural importance, right? Because like Nigerian hair and oh my hair, I am not my hair, and oh I won't get a job because of my hair. And you guys see my hair right now, right? That was like a whole thing. Oh, you have nigger hair and blah blah blah, so we can't hire people. Oh, and but then now Little Wen said tougher than Nigerian hair. Even the radio edit that word is bleeped out. It's censored. But I didn't hear nobody trying to cancel Lil Wayne for trivializing black features and black, you know what I'm saying? Out of nowhere, everybody's getting this super sensitive vibe off of bars in hip hop. Oh, set the slaves free? How could you say such a thing, Drake? Oh my God. Like, since when is the demographic of hip hop, the panelists for morality and righteousness? Because we can't start doing that. The second we start doing that, everybody's over. You already saw what the Drake fans was doing, pointing at Dr. Dre saying, "Oh look, Kendrick's on stage with a woman abuser," right? So we can't start this. We can't start this trying to pick and point and say who's righteous in hip hop, because all these guys are ex-cons or picked up some kind of criminal case in the process of getting famous or post being famous, or have cases that they paid off. All these celebrities do. So why are we even trying to pick and choose? But it just shows the level of ignorance this demographic is willing to go through to adhere to a perspective that doesn't really exist, which is this whole conscious hip hop side. There is elements of it that can be applied, but the holistic perspective of saying the beast gives us archetypes to distract us so that we can become more conscious and woke is stupid. To think that Kendrick is in front of you to bring you to a higher level of progression in life is so like it's so funny, because it actually makes him more of the geyser, more of the manipulator, the master manipulator than even Drake. We already know that the archetype Drake presents is not real in real life. It's only real to him in the billionaire status and the celebrity bubble that he lives in. But the average person can't live that kind of life, go around and having sex with everybody's wife and girlfriend. Like, that guy would be murdered. But Drake literally has king finances. He's moving like a Genghis Khan, where now you look back and you see, oh damn, one out of every five Asians is related to Genghis Khan, right? We don't go around saying, oh, Genghis Khan is a predator, da da da. Da. Oh, but, no, Genghis Khan was a ruler. He was just a gangsta ass nigga ruler. And you can't talk about, well, as a child he wasn't a gangster. He came from a nice. It doesn't matter about your childhood, bro. How you moving as an adult? Right? The problem was is that hip hop was so young. Most of the gangsters died at 16, 17. So we didn't understand that we even got the culture from adults, from Italians, from made men, mobsters. These were grown men, Sicilian families. The whole perspective of thinking gangsterism has to do with being black is the racism in itself. So when you actually start breaking down what woke culture is, it's actually more stereotyping and creating this whole monolithic culture about being black. But anyways, I was making a point about Lil Wayne. When Lil Wayne finally passed the torch to Drake, right? Drake did not have to carry the weight of conscious commentary, because Wayne didn't carry that. He didn't really even have to carry the weight of being authentic gangster, because neither Kanye nor Wayne carried that. And Kanye beat 50 Cent, who was that. So any real hip hop head who's been watching the evolution of hip hop to where the culture is now, to now feel like, oh, now we got to discredit Drake, it's so stupid. That's why I appreciate Toronto rappers. They flipping the title and saying we not like us, because it's literally these United Stations, these black United Stations who have no concept of their own history, nothing new, and making these horrible mistakes just to run with mainstream media, which have their own motives. I'm not going to get into that into this video. I just wanted to break down how stupid the demographic is to truly think that Drake is not hip hop because he gets success in numbers in mainstream in the mainstream industry, when the whole point of hip hop is to say we aren't getting money like you guys. You guys are making more exploits than us, but we are doing better work. But finally our people's doing the work, getting the money, getting the most money. Hip hop's the most popular genre. And then you're taking the guy who archetypes that the best and positions that in the best light and saying, oh, he's the sellout. It's stupid. It's ridiculous. It's retarded. It's remedial at best. And someone who's actually a fan and pushes the fight in real time, this to me just looks like the beast doing its own work, detract and distract from real folk like myself who's making exploits and pushing the meter forward. You're not gonna get it, and if you don't, you're probably not even a part of the fight. You're just part of the victimized community, the community looking to always victimize themselves. The community who saw a black president and still saying Drake's not black, but the president was black, right? But he was half white too, right? So the complexes that we're picking and choosing in one category but not for the other is so stupid. The conversation can't even be had properly because everybody's so triggered. And then there's like 80% white people trying to have these black conversations. It's so ridiculous. Anyways.